We're going live now to the New South Wales RFS with an update on the latest on the bushfires across the state.
Firefighters and emergency services personnel engaged in the fire operations, and we have 4 fires still burning at the emergency warning alert level. Starting down south, it's the Currawan fire, which continues to burn just north of Bateman's Bay and to the west and southwest of Ulladulla. That fire is still very active, and particularly with the southerly change that's moved through, it's very active out in its western boundary around communities like Nerriga. We've got the Wattle Creek fire burning in southwestern Sydney. That fire has been very aggressive this afternoon and continues to be very volatile in terms of its fire behaviour and its spread. It's spread back out through the other parts of Balmoral today and right out to the west through communities towards just south of Bargo, out towards the Hume Highway, resulting in the Hume Highway being closed. Further north, we've got the Gospers fire, which continues to be extremely active and busy, with fairly intense activity burning south of the Bells Line of Road, particularly south of communities like Bilpin and stretching out towards closer towards Bowen Mountain and Currajong. Fortunately, the westerlies haven't progressed it all the way to those settlements of Bowen Mountain and Currajong. However, the southerly is now impacting that fire ground, and we're seeing incredible fire activity and impact into communities along the Bells Line of Road, south of the Bells Line of Road particularly, as they stretch along through from east of Mount Wilson, Mount Irvine, through to places like Bilpin. Very, very significant activity impacting on there as well. Out to the northwest of the Gospers fire, out near Capertee, on the road between Lithgow and Mudgee, we've still got the Upper Turon Road fire that's burning at emergency warning level, and it has burnt up and towards the Castlereagh Highway and closer to communities like Running Stream. So those 4 fires are still our emergency warning fires, and we've got a number of others, I think 6 others, that are still burning at the Watch and Act alert level, and the rest are at advice. We have got reports coming across multiple fire grounds with properties being impacted, damaged and destroyed. The early estimates coming from the field are that this number could be in the dozens at this stage, and we are mindful that we've still got a number of hours to go with the volatility of behaviour while it's under the influence of this blustery southerly change, particularly on those fire grounds north of Sydney. On the far south coast, we are seeing a betterment behind the change, but it's going to take a long time for behaviour to settle down once that change has moved through. So we've still got a long night ahead for firefighters and all those communities that are affected by the current fires burning around New South Wales. Whilst the weather conditions are expected to ease tomorrow, we still have 2 total fire ban areas in place up in northern New South Wales, in the northwestern areas and the northern slopes. And as we indicated before, there remains a number of highways and arterial roads that are impacted and closed. When it is safe and appropriate to do so, we are very mindful about working with police and the roads and maritime services to get those highways reopened so we can get people on their journeys. That's it in a nutshell, unless there's any questions.
Can you give us some information about the person who's unaccounted for?
Oh, sorry. Yep. So we do have a report of a male that's unaccounted for in the Dargan area. Fire officers and others spoke with the male today in that area, and he was preferring to stay there at the time. There's some report that the property is now enveloped by fire, and we can't locate that man. We are hoping that he has chosen to relocate somewhere, but we just don't know at this stage.
Have you had any reports of firefighters injured?
We've had a number of injuries today. So there's been a number of firefighters out in the Lithgow area that were self-presented to hospital for smoke inhalation. We've had a firefighter, a fire and rescue officer up on the Bells Line of Road region that was hit by a travelling vehicle, a private vehicle up there. My understanding he's okay. There may be a fracture, but we're just not sure yet. He was being triaged and treated and transported to hospital for assessment. And we've had a number of other lacerations and injuries, and heat-related issues throughout the day. At this stage, pleasingly, we've not had any serious injury or life-threatening injury reported.
Which areas or localities do you believe properties have been lost in?
We are looking at down at the Currawan fire, particularly out through the western areas in communities like Narragansett. There's the reports of multiple properties being lost there. It's in the order of 2 to 3 properties is the early reports. We're talking about a fair impact, a considerable impact on the Balmoral fire again, and through that region burning out towards the Hume Highway. We're looking at the Bilpin, the Bells Line of Road stretching from Lithgow, Clarence, Dargan and up to Bilpin itself. There are numerous, would be the word to describe that, and I'm talking somewhere in the order of 10 to 20 potentially as we stretch from the Lithgow area up the Bells Line of Road to the east and out to Bilpin. And we need to be mindful that places like Bilpin and the areas of the Bells Line of Road are being heavily impacted by fire as we speak as a result of the influence of that strong southerly change. It's important to note as well that a lot of those fire grounds, and particularly up through the northwest of the large Gospers complex, as the southerly continues to move through over the coming hours, we can expect to see sustained fire activity and fire threat, albeit not to villages or towns, but to more isolated properties and communities stretching up through that region.
How long do you think it will take before the conditions ease in that Gospers Mountain fire?
It's going to be many hours, several hours. So what we're experiencing with the cold change, or with the front as it moves through the southerly change, is that its influence is being sustained for several hours. And you really need to get a few hours behind that sort of southerly change before you can start seeing a moderation in the activity. But what we've got to keep in mind is, while the temperatures will drop and the humidities will rise, the vegetation, the landscape is so dry that we're still seeing pretty significant fire behaviour, and that's likely to continue right through the evening.
You mentioned earlier that fire crossing the Bells Line of Road meant that was circumventing some of the back burning and stuff that had been done. Are firefighters at the moment having to be entirely reactive to that fire? Are they just having to go to wherever they're needed with that fire activity for the Gospers Mountain fire?
So today's conditions that we're experiencing, particularly with these fire runs, it is entirely tactical, it is entirely responsive, and it's entirely focused on saving and protecting as many people and as much property and other assets in those local communities as we can. It's a very volatile situation, it's a very dynamic situation, and certainly wind-driven is having a big influence on the intensity and the direction which these fires are travelling, and therefore what they are likely to impact and consume in their path.
Once those conditions ease and tomorrow, for instance, you get past this stage, what will firefighters be doing? Will they be going in to assess? Will they be doing back burning? What is the plan for tomorrow?
There will be a whole combination of things that are going to be going on tomorrow. We are looking at big focuses on trying to consolidate and establish containment lines across as many fire grounds as we can. We've got significant fire spread now south of the Bells Line of Road and through the valley system, such as the Gross Valley in the Blue Mountains region. So there will be a detailed assessment of the potential threat and the likely threat in coming days or weeks to the Blue Mountains region. So we will be looking at what are the options, what are the fallback lines, and at what point do we start implementing very significant strategies to secure protection for an impending threat to the Blue Mountains region, particularly along the communities along the Great Western Highway. So there are a magnitude of challenges that will need to be contemplated tomorrow, prioritised tomorrow, and over the coming days. And a massive effort will be undertaken, as we've seen now for weeks and months, by incident managers and firefighters on the front line to identify, establish, consolidate as much as we can containment to secure any further spread of these fires, and most importantly to try and shore up protection for those communities that are currently under threat and that are likely to come under threat given the forecast conditions over the coming days and weeks.
Sorry, do you have an estimated age for the man in the Dargan area that's unaccounted for?
No, I don't. it was described as more elderly, but that's all I've got.
Ms Webb? If you could just introduce yourself and give us an update on the major road closures with those arterial roads.
Yep. So Assistant Commissioner Karen Webb, Deputy CECOM.
And which of the highways are still closed? Are there any changes to where that is?
So presently, perhaps it's easier to talk about the ones that are open. So the Great Western Highway is now open, and the Hume Highway, I'm told, is due to open within the next short time, perhaps 30 minutes or so. And Princess Highway is also likely to open, so we'll be releasing roads as conditions improve. When the Hume Highway opens, we're likely to reopen Picton Road westbound. There will be still some local roads that will remain closed, Kings Highway, Remembrance Drive, and some other roads. Bellsline Road will remain closed, obviously, given the conditions that we've just been speaking about. And I'd suggest that people just check Traffic Live to just ensure that the most current information is used.
And are police involved in that search for the man at Dargan at all, or is that RFS entirely?
No, we're on the ground as well, so we'll be waiting for an opportunity to inspect the property and make other inquiries to look for that person.
There's been 2 deaths on the road already. Do you have any advice for drivers travelling for holidays?
Our usual advice is to drive to the conditions, drive to the road rules. In the current conditions, there's still a lot of smoke in the air, which impacts visibility, and we ask that drivers just take care and drive more carefully in those circumstances. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, mate.
Well, that was the New South Wales RFS Commissioner Shane Fitzsimmons with the latest on the bushfires burning across the state. He said that there are 4 emergency blazes still burning, 6 are at a watch and act level. That situation changing by the minute. A number of highways and arterial roads remain closed, including the Bells Line of Road and the Hume Highway. That is due to open in the next half hour. And more roads are to open as conditions improve tonight. We've been advised to check Traffic Live for updates. The RFS Commissioner saying a very dynamic and volatile situation continues. A southerly change has come through the fire grounds, causing significant activity in those fires north of Sydney, and saying there that confirming dozens of properties are estimated to be destroyed. 1 man remains unaccounted for in the Dargan area, confirming that his home has been engulfed in flames, but they are hoping he has relocated, and they will, of course, keep us updated on that. And that is the latest on the fires for this minute. We will, of course, keep you updated here on Sky News throughout the evening.